Oh, okay.
Here.
They're different versions.
Well, I printed out the most recent one that he sent.
Oh, you didn't send me that one.
Sure.
I just printed out the one that I have.
He wants to see that. I don't know if you noticed this or not.
I
but
saw
there
it.
was a
That's
lot
when
of
he sends it in
moving
Word,
between
I'll fix it.
accounts payable. And
I paid
Hmm.
attention.
We didn't spell Espinoza right.
I'll
Yeah,
fix it.
I have to do a
Right.
word search for it.
So he took it out of a revenue or an expense in some of it and put it in receivable.
What's wrong?
And I don't know.
That's it.
Anybody have any more questions for Tommy?
You want this?
We're good?
I'm just gonna look at the receipt and then I'll have it.
Tommy, we appreciate you.
All right, guys, if anything comes up, I know Hubert, Sherry, David, and I will reach out. Any of you feel free to reach out, and I'll be glad to help any way I can.
Thank you.
Sir. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
All right, y'all have a great night.
Thanks.
Thank you.
That's not
Very nice.
Just in case you want to say.
So the motion would be to approve the draft and to authorize Ed to sign the,
Before we do that, can we just, did you have a chance to review the adjustments?
This is like, I just got some,
Okay, could we have 2 minutes? The reason why I want David to take a look at the
Look at the
adjustments.
adjustments.
I looked at the adjustments in the
That's good.
electronic version,
Yeah.
but I wasn't sure if David had either.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd like to know if he agrees.
Right.
what is that, letter called?
The opinion letter? What do you mean?
No, the agreement, the,
rep level,
yeah.
management representation.
What letter are you talking about? The one that Ed has to sign?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was-
Like this was
Somebody
like
else, see, we didn't get 15, we didn't.
Right, so like this one.
But what it is, we didn't get the 15, because we just had 15 on this. We didn't get the 15. For all the, meeting, for all, is when we got the, and we didn't get the 15, so I couldn't put both.
We didn't get the 15. Don't know.
But, I don't know, I'm not talking to you, what you doing, said, we didn't get the view over the wall, right, and the eliminations. But somehow, whatever you were going to show, we got some of them. Another person we have, but after that, we would get this other secretary, we were going to, they need me, he would, what should have put him down, raise that.
Already? I just give it to you.
That's why I just ordered extra.
Okay.
I mean, there's a reason they need to.
Get a party.
If you look at the adjustments, so from
All high
200 to accounts payable and nursing home accounts payable, split it between 2.
I have that for you. I think it's a girl thing that might grow the hair.
Yeah, that's true.
You like it black, don't you?
Is that one?
Depends on growing hair.
He told me today.
Y'all wanna talk about
got two more to
I
look
don't
at.
think I did, but. You're a bud.
We believe you, just a minute. It's closed now.
Y'all wanna make it you wanna approve it subject to you verifying the adjustment entry?
No, I really didn't want to go to the pen, I wanted to understand what was going on. And the first big entry is because the 15, covered the 15. We didn't have the 15 journal entries that they made back in August whenever we got the 15. So we couldn't make that to our books if we didn't have it. And so so what he did is he made a cumulative entry for that one, and that's number one. And so what we need to do is make these entries and then get 17s from the managers or the nursing homes themselves. So we can record them, then we won't have this being on 17 audit.
Every single year.
Yeah, and I know that, like, they've reached out already to the nursing homes for the information for 17.
Already? They're gonna be done by the summertime?
Well, Tommy is gonna send a letter, he's gonna send an email to us stating very clearly what it is they need on the accrued basis. I think it's an accounts receivable. And we think that nursing homes are making a mountain out of a molehill. So we think that the information that they need is really actually pretty accessible, and the nursing home managers are making it more difficult than it really needs to be.
Right. We just need really 4 numbers from them each month. And,
But it's hard to explain that to them, right, David?
yes,
Because
Tommy's gonna send us an email, we're gonna go to
Yeah.
them and say, here's exactly what we need, and it's
And
not
why.
that much.
But it's also pretty clear in the management agreement.
So you understand what,
Yes.
okay. Entertain a motion.
Motion made to accept.
Motion made by Jeff to accept the draft of the 2016 audit.
Second.
Second by Raul.
Can it also be to authorize Ed to sign the
Representation.
representation letter?
With authorization for me to sign on the representation letter. Seconded by Raul. All in favor? Any nays? Ayes have it.
Did you read these back?
Yeah.
9, discuss and take action on approving loan assistance request by Riceland Healthcare Provider, which is Heath Redwine. The letter here, from Dan Yancey, the administrator. He's been a nurse practitioner with Riceland. He's been a full-time employee of Riceland since October of 16. He has been working in several of their clinics and has now accepted a position working in our emergency room here at the hospital along with the ER coverage. He will be working every Monday in the clinic, helping Dr. Boutte provide medical care. He has been providing medical care under the direct supervision of Dr. Andrus and has worked very closely with Dr. Andrus. He has been in the medical field for the past 12 years and brings sound clinical experience to Winnie. He lives in Hampshire with his wife and 5 children. he needs a TV, he don't need a system. As a hospital administrator, I recommend that the hospital process in helping Heath with his student loan repayment. Attached is Heath's personal letter along with his loan papers. Thank you for your continued support, and please feel free to contact. Here's his letter, whom it may concern. My name is Heath Redwine. I'm a nurse practitioner and have been with Riceland for over a year. I recently started working in the emergency department in Winnie, and I'm helping in the clinic. I'm writing this letter in efforts to receive assistance on my student loans I obtained while receiving my master's in nursing. Thank you for your consideration, Heath Redwine. Have you, huh?
What do we have budgets for student loans?
I think it was, raise it to 25 in anticipation of this.
He's actually got two different loans. Can you consolidate them? Is that what I'm reading? He has one loan for $7,500 left and one for $115,000. Sure you're not farming?
That was more than my law school.
For a total of $122,774. Huh? Is that a house? Yeah. You think that's what this is?
Is this the budget for this? Is the budget for this $5,000?
Yeah.
Y'all need to
No, it's
amend.
one.
Yeah, because how much,
I think we had put it at 5,000 because
We didn't
we
know.
didn't know and we weren't using it.
is this the 18?
Yeah. Really, it wasn't 5,000, so if we do this, we just need to amend the budget at the next.
What
Well,
was,
that depends on how we would pay it. Are we paying monthly? Are we paying?
Yeah, the agreement is to pay monthly only.
It's
Do you
monthly
know
payment
what-
of $1425.56.
yeah, do you know what Sherry's was?
The other ladies,
Yeah,
it's like $150.
It's $150 a month.
Do we have to, maybe it's a question for you, Dave. If we pay for his loans, do we have to 1099 them, or how does that work?
That, I believe that it would end up being a 1099 because he's gonna get a statement in his name for loan, student loan interest, that he can deduct on his tax return. And,
So this is stuff, and I'm not 100% sure he's aware of the impact, but this is taxable income.
Yeah, we did talk about that, we get a 1099.
Okay, I don't remember talking about it, but
I wonder if
this
he's
is a lot
aware
bigger
of
than
it.
$150 a month.
Yeah.
And I wonder, Heath is aware of it.
Was he here earlier?
He stuck his head in right when we
Yeah,
started.
he was going back over to the emergency room.
Right, yeah.
I think in the next meeting, we should have him, come over here and sit down and talk.
Maybe
about it.
table this until the next meeting.
I believe a face-to-face would be,
He's gonna pay a
you know, would be a good way to, if you guys could talk to him face-to-face and, you know, feel him out.
Is he, yeah. Is he available right now, or no?
I have no idea, he's in the ER right now.
He was working, he had to get back to work.
It's the first pay.
Yeah, you said he'd try to drop back.
But
when you
it's
could.
based on family size and income size, is he gonna pay the 4.225? That's the default amount, you gotta turn that application in.
Yeah, that's what I saw. This other thing showed that his last payment was 11.
Yeah, 1145, that's what I'm thinking.
What was your question?
12 years.
There's no.
This amount of 2556, is that his monthly payment, prepayment?
That, the way I read it, that's the default payment if he doesn't
If he doesn't.
report his family size and his income.
If you look on this other one, it says last payment 1145. So we may want to need to get clarification on how that works with him too.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I wonder
Yeah, I
if
don't
there's
know.
any way if we could see if he could, if he's not tied up with patient, you know, I know he said he was, but he might be slowed down right now where he could
Let me
run
find
out.
out.
He wants 20, he would need to be certified.
Well, the reason why y'all did this was, you know, to encourage, you know, people to come here and work. Oh wait, my mom came here on Sunday. She's like, that is just the most beautiful little place. She's like, that's the cutest little hospital. I was like, what did you go out there for?
She was being
And she
nosy.
went with a friend, no, a friend of hers, her mom was here, and so,
Oh, okay.
my mom rode with her. She's like, that place is just beautiful. I swear she did.
Well, I know who to go to, once I get one.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I said my mom came here.
Well,
I'm in our budget.
So can we go on to something else while we're waiting to see it?
what is the,
Can.
like in surgical procedures? Do you have to be licensed to like,
Cut on somebody?
yeah,
No,
remove,
no.
remove,
It depends.
just remove some,
Jesus, hurt.
People get cut on the street all the time. They don't have a license to do it. I'm sure you do.
should have some, I mean, depending
If
on.
you're talking about legally, yeah.
You gonna stitch somebody up, or you just gonna. One thing,
It really happened.
how they do that.
No,
Sharon, how
he's
do
a
they do
PA, he's a PA, I mean, you know, they can even take like a, be with surgeons in the ORs.
I believe it's
As
those
long
three
as they're
people.
under the supervision.
I called them up as well, so I didn't pick up the phone.
Do what, Mo?
I believe it's scheduled with, two people, I called them up also, so he didn't pick up the phone, so.
So,
So let's table it for next time and see if we can.
Yeah.
See him. I don't think that that's did you think that that was a quarterly payment?
I believe it's a monthly.
Yeah, it
payment
is.
starting
Yeah,
at
it is.
the- So it'd be it'd be about $15,000 for the year, for the 10 payments.
Yeah, 122,000, that's pretty equal to 1,100 anyway.
For 20 years.
so I'll make a motion, we table it until we.
Motion
talk
made by
to
Sharon, to table it until we can talk with Heath, a little more detail.
Second.
Second by Jeff, all in favor? Any nays? Ayes have it. 10, discuss and take action necessary on acquiring additional nursing homes. That's the 6 in question, right?
I kind of put in your packet little excerpts
They got cut off.
from, they got cut off too.
Yeah,
Could you go make 5 or 6 copies? I don't know. Because it's not, whenever you're printing, some things are, hold on, she's making copies. While she's doing that, we did get word a couple weeks ago that the 1115 program was renewed with the federal government, so the federal government approved it. So for y'all, what that means is the uncompensated care program for the hospital will go forward for the next 5 years. And in the spreadsheet that was submitted to us from the state was a couple rows that discuss the QUIP program and whether or not the program was they were gonna increase the pool of money in the program. If you recall, at the last meeting or the meeting before, when we talked about adding 6 new nursing homes, we talked about it in terms of if the pool of money was to remain flat at 400,000, 400 million, and more nursing homes came into the picture, then that would dilute the amount of money that you would be getting available. Yeah. Yeah, and in this spreadsheet that hasn't formally been adopted yet by the state, it calls for $50 million increases. So QUIP 1 and 2 go with year 1, QUIP 3 and 4 are year 2, and so on and so. So it calls for a 5-year total program with $50 million increases each year. So at the end of year 5, at the beginning of year 5, it would be for 600 million. So the pool would have gone from 400 million to 600 million. So that was that, but the only problem is that hadn't officially been adopted yet. So that was good news. We've also been working with lenders to secure the IGT funds for QUIP 3 that's coming up in April, which has been a challenge in and of itself to deal with these people. But so it's looking like they made a proposal to let us borrow the money. They, being Salt Creek Capital, gave us a proposal to let us borrow the money.
And Anthony.
And he's trying to like change the terms of the loan to where we would have our principal outstanding longer. And Anthony was kind of involved in the emails, but the suggestion was that he was wanting us to counter, he was wanting me to counter to some outrageous loan proposal, and I wouldn't do so because I wanted to bring it to y'all and find out what y'all wanted to do. So whether you do 6 more nursing homes or not, we're gonna I recommend sticking Anthony on, and and if we need to go that route, and negotiate the terms of the loan. I think ultimately he will go back to our original, what we are doing now currently, but I think it was a situation where it didn't hurt to ask, in his mind. So, I haven't responded to him or told him anything, but it'd be my recommendation that Anthony and I work with them and go down that road. But anyway, so
on this, are we pretty much at the same spot we were last time?
yeah,
In that, the only way we do this is if it makes sense that we can get the money,
we can get the money. We know that.
not for an outrageous interest cost. And I think one of those things that's pending is the meeting with Steve and Coast Oak Bank and the loan officers to discuss. I really don't know which way they're leaning, do you?
I think it's an uphill climb, but I don't think it hurts to ask, and I think there's sound logic as to why a bank would do it at this point. But I would not go full, I wouldn't count on that. I think a more conservative approach would be to count on using Salt Creek Capital with the terms that we currently have. Is the more realistic approach.
All right, well, I don't wanna waste my time going to Houston on Friday.
Well, I just don't have a feel.
I don't mean waste my time, I think it's important, but, I mean, I don't wanna go out there to get the typical bank response.
We have the stuff together pretty well to where, like, I understand what their ultimate concern is gonna be. It's gonna be whether or not, what kind of collateral they can have. And quite frankly, I mean, they loan money to people
We don't need it.
for, in far more, this is actually a very secure, let me go through this real quick and maybe it'll answer some questions.
Okay.
Y'all can tell me what you think. So right now for year one, there's 514 nursing homes, 84 of them are private nursing homes. The total IGT is 95 million. If you go to the next page, what that is if the calculations at 75% with 25 nursing homes, if you were to add the 25 nursing homes, that would create, in the first 4 years, a $7.4 million net to the district. The cost to do that, as it currently exists, would be about $5 million for interest, and the LTC, you know, these are LTC's numbers, is all I can say. I would, you know, we have a year-to-year contract with them, and that's, to me, is something that I think the board anticipates negotiating for year 2. If you look at what Rusty's initial proposal was for modifying,
It's really hard to read the interest expense on this one. Can you just tell me what the totals are for year one?
year one,
Never
the
mind,
total
Dave,
is,
never mind.
the year one, the total is 858,000. Year two, it's 1.2 million. Year three, it's 1.4 million. In year 5, it's 1.5 million. But the reason why that goes up is because the total pool of money goes up that we have to make IGTs for. So the reason for it escalating is as the pool of money grows from $50 million each year, our share,
Of my money we have to borrow.
our share of the IGT goes up, regardless of whether you add nursing homes or not. Then if you, below it is how much the loans would cost as Rusty and Salt Free Capital is proposing. It's like 6.2 million, and there's a $1.2 million difference. And the net to the district then would be 6.2. So going and trying to do whether or not you add additional nursing homes or not, being able to get loans through Post Oak Bank for 3.25% would be a home run for y'all.
Got a key. Thanks.
Yeah, to the tune of $5-6 million. The reason why we think we can the reason why I don't think it's a waste of time to go try to get the loans is because now under the QUIP program, y'all have 100% of your money for component 1, component 2, and component 3, all being direct deposited directly into Post Oak, or can be directly deposited in Post Oak Bank into an account where they can start gaining control over their money so it would be under one of these sweep account type deals, where the money would be swept from our government receivables account to our commercial account, where they would be able to have control of this account. So if there was ever a situation where we didn't repay the loan, then they could get control over the account.
And they'd have a lien, did you say something about?
Yeah, they would have and that's the way to do it, that's the proper way to do it for these healthcare receipts.
Is there any negative to that?
No, it protects you, it protects them. That's the way to go. The other reason why they would want to do it, if you look at the next page, is we're gonna have 25. We would have 25 government receivables accounts with Post Oak Bank, and we would have 25 commercial accounts. So we would have 50 accounts at Post Oak Bank. So. Then the next thing is this chart kind of is designed to show the bank how much money we would have out, assuming these numbers are correct, from May of 17 to March of 2022. I mean, so there's a certain sense of predictability with this because we know when the money's coming back. We know how much money's coming back as far as if I'm the lender and the borrower is telling me that on X date we're going to get, $750,000, and it's all very scheduled. So.
You say it has had the 5-year approval from the
Yes.
government? It's signed and
Yeah, the other reason why I printed this out for y'all is it shows like the number of nursing facilities all these other hospital districts have. And like Parkland Hospital, they're all gonna add more nursing homes. But for QUIP, for year 1, they had 29 nursing homes. Coryell had 28, Uvalde had 26, Fannin County Hospital Authority had 20, Liberty has 24,
Where's Parkland Health?
the very bottom,
No, I meant where in the state.
Dallas.
Dallas.
But Liberty next door has 24 nursing homes. It's showing y'all, you have 19, and I know Liberty's adding like 10 more nursing homes.
Those are the meetings set for Friday? All set?
So structurally wise, we're in good shape for the bank to gain collateral that they weren't able to get before. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know, but the reason for discussing the whole bank situation is to help understand our IGT costs for, and how much money you would actually save at the end of the day on the 25
How
homes.
much money we're gonna have to have outstanding in Post Oak Bank, which is gonna be over $10 million. If they,
Well, would you recommend it going with the other home, with the new homes regardless? Saying,
To me, it's like you, in my mind, if you get the loan or you don't get the loan,
right,
it's kind of a corresponding increase or increased cost and increased
right.
revenue. So at the end of the day, to me, if you're at 19 homes and it costs X, but it generates Y, so if you're at 25 homes, it's gonna cost more, but then you get
Still
more.
there,
Especially with the additional 50 million added each year.
Yeah. I also know that there's other opportunities for lenders outside of the two that I've discussed that is a little bit more, but we should know more about that next week too.
who's that?
I can't say yet. But
Do we have a statement of cash flow for the nursing home programs updated with
yeah, just finish that. For quit? Yeah,
based on
yeah,
the results received?
yeah. That, well, actually for this one, for year one, those are the actual, the 90%. Year 2, 3, and 4,
Our 75?
yeah.
Any other questions on adding the 6 additional nursing homes? Or response?
the way you want. Feel like it.
But I think we're handling the ones we have right now pretty well, obviously, according to Tommy.
Right.
And, obviously, the goal is to try to cut costs as much as possible so that we could recognize, y'all could recognize more money here.
Right.
But it's also money that you wouldn't have otherwise, so basically your budget is 900,000 and your tax revenue is 450,000. So by participating in this program, you're able to do a lot.
Provide more services.
I'll make a motion on acquiring additional.
Motion made by Jeff
So far.
to acquire the 6 additional nursing homes.
Second.
Second by Roll. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays?
said I.
Okay. Oh, you were just lip syncing. Ayes have it.
Look, go ahead. All the correspondence I've read, from CMS to prepare for this meeting on Friday is they really like the QUIC program. So, I mean, the fact that they can actually measure improvements to people's health conditions is very, it's a big deal to CMS. It's kind of a model type program on how they want the nursing home programs throughout the country to go. So in Oklahoma, they're about to start the nursing home program, and it's under the traditional upper payment limit program like we started off with. But all these things are gonna be directed towards this type model.
Population going that way, there's no doubt about it. Aging population is a fact of life.
Yeah.
They're trying to get them up to snuff.
We're looking out for our best interest.
Yeah.
We're headed there.
Sorry, you can't go to any of these nursing homes.
You can go to Claremont.
Moving to number 11, discuss and take action if necessary on adopting an amended and restated deposit and transfer procedures policy.
What? We tabled it, and I would ask to table it again, because what this is trying to do is contemplate that 100% of the QUIC funds are now going directly into the government receivables account. And in the past, they were received through checks, where Sherry would then direct deposit them. And this is a good thing for us, because a lender, there's a lot less, there's fewer variables for money to not go where it needs to go. Because by contract, it's going to the account that we say we are. So the purpose of amending this policy is to account for the fact that now the money is going directly to the right account. In the past, there was, in the UPL program, money would be deposited by the state into the various nursing home account at Wells Fargo. And it would get mixed in with all the other money. We had to cull it out and then transfer it to Post Oak Bank. Under the impact program, we were able to get the money, and the reason why it being sent into the Wells Fargo accounts became a problem is we started having to do these HUD transactions where a HUD lender could get control over the account that would have our money in it for them. So we solved that problem by getting the money sent by way of checks, and that avoided any of these HUD transactions. So and there was still some variables there, and like a check getting lost or misdeposited or something. And so now we just have the money, we're able to have the money just go right from point A to point B, and there's no way anybody could interfere.
I thought we'd done it, but we tabled it. So we're gonna table it again for what reason?
Because,
We're not through with Wells Fargo yet.
well, yeah, but also with this meeting.
Oh,
Not
okay.
Friday.
Friday's meeting, okay.
Make a motion to table adopting an amended and restated deposit and transfer policy.
Motion made by Anthony, seconded by Jeff to table it. The amended and restated deposit and transfer policy. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Discussion, take action if necessary in approving amendments to loan 10 and loan 12, promissory notes and security agreements.
That's for the same, I recommend
Same
table.
thing.
Right. Motion made by Anthony, seconded by Jeff to table the amendments to loans 10 and 12, promissory notes. All in favor? Nays? Ayes have it. there anything else to be brought forward, board?
Bless you.
Great.
Nothing? Notice of the next meeting is when?
Let me bring my phone. I need to write that down. First week, February.
February 21st. February 21st.
21st? February 21st at 6. Motion made by Jeff, second by Roll, to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have
Who made the motion?
it. Jeff?
Jeff.
Good.